Oh, it is time to piss people off. Welcome back to the Play by Play podcast YouTube channel where I'm not going to spend too much time to explain what is going on today. It is pretty clear. We are doing a full 32 NFL quarterback tier list. I have seen so many top 10 quarterback rankings, tier lists over the past couple of weeks. So I figured I would come on here. I would do one. And like I just said in the beginning, probably make a lot of people mad. Now, again, understand this is my opinion on these guys. If you have a differing opinion about this, let me know down below. I want to hear your thoughts, but please, let's be respectful about it. Let's respect if anybody else has an opinion down below in the comments. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into this. So I'm not going to waste too much time starting here at the top here with Josh Allen. Now, these are ranked S, A, B, C, D, and F. But I will also try to rank these guys in some kind of chronological order. It might get a little bit messier at the end when we have a lot of people, but I'm going to try my best to rank these guys as best as I can, 1 through 32. Starting out with Josh Allen here. He's obviously going to be an S tier. I would have no issue arguing that Josh Allen is the number one quarterback in the NFL. The dude can do it all. He has a rocket arm. He is great with his legs. He has really surprised me from where he was all the way back in 2017, 2018 when he was coming over from a Mountain West team with the Wyoming Cowboys. I do think that there has been some unlucky breaks for him, but I also do think that some of them have been his fault. You know, last year in Denver, he had a difficulty holding on to the ball. I do think that that is a major weakness that the Broncos ended up uncovering, was just him being very loose, especially being on the run. Forced 2 fumbles out of that, and that unfortunately cost them. But this dude shows up in the big time. He's played against difficult teams. He has the experience. And there's really not a lot that you can really ask him to do that he's not going to be capable of. And especially over the past couple of seasons, with Joe Brady putting the ball more and more into his hands, especially on the ground game, he's kind of shown his versatility and what he can do. Now we transfer over to Malik Willis. And I'm really, really hesitant about where to put him because I just don't know. What I saw in Tennessee with him was not great. What I saw in Green Bay was solid, but he was in a really good situation in Green Bay. Had a lot of solid weapons around him, good running back in the backfield with Josh Jacobs. Obviously with Matt LaFleur, who knew how to utilize him in the right way, utilizing his legs a lot more, utilizing his big arm. I need to see more out of him within the accuracy department. And I'm just not sure, especially in this horror of a Miami offense, how he's going to do. I mean, a bad offensive line, not really many weapons to work with. First year defensive-minded head coach in Jeff Hafley. You hope that Devon Achane can 100% stay healthy because he's going to be target number one. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but from where I'm at right now, I have to rate him as a D. There are probably 20-plus other quarterbacks likely that I would trust over him right now. And you do have to ask the question, was he good in Green Bay because of his situation, or was he good in Green Bay because of the player that he is? Because what we saw in Tennessee, you didn't see the same caliber guy. Now we get to Drake May here, over here, and I think that there are a lot of people that are personally overrating Drake May a little bit. I've seen a lot of people, put him within the top 5 and whatnot, and I get it. Last season was tremendous for him, leading the Patriots all the way to the Super Bowl and doing it with not a very deep roster, right? The offensive line, especially on the interior, was a huge struggle. Will Campbell, especially down the stretch, has some issues as well. A lack of a wide receiving core and whatnot. And what I love most about Drake May is just how cool and calm he is under pressure. I never saw this guy the entire season, no matter how much he was up in the game, no matter how much he was down, no matter how much time was left, no matter how much pressure was coming into his face. I never saw this guy freak out, which I think is a very, very great trait for him, especially as a young quarterback. So for me right now, I'm personally going to put him into S tier. I might change that as we go along, and there are definitely going to be a lot of quarterbacks ahead of him. But I do think that this guy has a very bright future, and I do think that right now he should be a top 10 quarterback. Geno Smith comes in next, and it feels like we're going up and down and up and down and up and down. I'm going to put Geno Smith at D. I'm not going to put him totally at F because I do think that there are some redeeming qualities about Geno Smith, and he has showcased before that he can definitely put the ball in the end zone. He is a touchdown machine. The problem is that he's also showcased that he could put the ball in the other team's hands and cause a lot of turnovers. And so you really just don't know what version of Geno that you're going to get. I do think that he has a solid opportunity this year in New York with Garrett Wilson, with Adonai Mitchell, who is one of my sleepers this year at receiver. Breece Hall in the backfield. You have two franchise tackles on either side. You know, he has a solid offensive setup to where he could potentially get things going. The question is, though, again, is he going to have that coaching foundation that he had with Pete Carroll over in Seattle? Because I think that that was definitely a huge part of it. And ultimately, can he keep the ball out of harm's way? I'm just not sure. And especially at this point, older in his career, I think that he definitely not only took a step back last year with the Raiders, but also lost a good deal of confidence. He's definitely going to have to prove himself early on. But I do think for the touchdown upside that he brings, I would personally put him a tad above Malik Willis. Joe Burrow 100% goes into the S tier. This is not a surprise at all. I just need to see this man healthy, man. This offense could be so freaking dynamic with both Chase and Higgins. Chase Brown had another nice season last year. They could be great. They just need to keep this guy on the field. It's heartbreaking every single year. I do definitely think that Joe Burrow should definitely look towards staying in the pocket more this year. You know, don't put yourself in harm's way rolling out. I understand that, you know, he does have some legs that he could use, and he definitely is a bigger guy that he could get physical and break some tackles, but it's just not worth it at this point, especially how far along we are in his career and how little games he's played up to this point. He has to preserve himself for the future, and if he does, I mean, he could potentially be in this spot if he really wanted to. I think that Josh is just a little bit of a level above him, especially with the ability that he could use with his legs. But I do definitely think that Joe Burrow is among the top of the quarterbacks in the league. And again, just need to see a full 17-game season out of him. Lamar Jackson, same thing. He's going to be in the S tier. He's taken a major step back for me from last year. I understand that he was injured, but there were a couple of Ravens games that I watched last year and a couple of throws that he made where I was just unsure who his target was, where he was throwing it, why he was throwing it in the spot that it was. Sometimes it was 5-10 yards ahead of his receiver. He just seemed all sort of out of whack. And now it's even going to be more interesting, obviously, with new head coach Jesse Minter out of there. You're not going to have Todd Monken anymore. He's going to have kind of a full transformation for himself. And it's going to be interesting to see how much he's willing to run, especially coming off of an injury. Is he going to be more motivated to do that? Is he going to become more of a pocket passer? Obviously, you're hoping that he could still, keep up his production with his legs. But that's not the only thing that is going to get you there, right? He has to have the ability to pass the ball. And the sad thing about it is he has so many good gadget guys like Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman who could catch up to the ball, who you could throw it up to. But he's not even giving them the opportunity to do that. So I definitely need to see another step up from Lamar this year. Still, with his dual threat ability and whatnot, definitely an S-tier guy. But need to see a little bit more consistency, especially on the outside and whatnot. We know that he struggled with that a little bit earlier on in his career. He's cleaned a little bit about that up. But I need to see him continuously improving on that. Shedeur Sanders, I don't know what to do, to be honest, because I feel really bad. I've hyped this guy up for the past year and a half, and I'm not sure whether to blame him. I'm not sure whether to blame his situation. This could also possibly be Deshaun Watson, by the way. I don't think that Deshaun is anywhere on this list, so we'll take this as Shedeur Sanders / Deshaun Watson. I don't want to completely put them at F, but I think I might have to. I just didn't see a lot out of. I haven't seen anything out of Deshaun Watson in about 4 to 5 years. And Shedeur Sanders, how many redeeming games did he realistically have last year? And the important thing for him is obviously he can improve off of this level. I'm hoping that if I make a video like this next year, he's in the D tier, he's in the C tier, maybe even in the B tier if he does get playing time this year. But I don't know. I don't know. I need to see more out of him. I need to really gauge the fact that is it the lack of offensive weapons or is it simply on him? One thing that he's not going to have this year is he's not going to have the best pass rusher in football. That defense is going to take a step back, so he's not going to have nearly as many opportunities as he did last year. So that's something that you're definitely going to have to track with as well. Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to go ahead and put up at C. Really interesting to see him going into his last year and still be like a middle-of-the-pack quarterback. He can still throw solid balls, right? And I mean, this isn't out of the ordinary, right? We saw Peyton Manning in his older age be able to do the same thing. They're just a little bit more of, fly balls, right? They have a little bit more air on them. Receivers have to, slow down a little bit more to catch up to it. And we definitely saw in that Texans game some limit to his ability, especially within the deep passing game and being patient and whatnot. But also, he was going up against the best defense in the league. Arthur Smith is absolutely awful as an offensive play caller. There were so many screen passes where I was like, what the hell are you calling right now, especially when you're down in this game? So interested to see how he's going to do McCarthy. But right now, especially at his older age, especially with his lack of mobility, I really can't put him any farther than this. CJ Stroud comes up, and it's another tough one for me because this is another guy that I love. I loved him his rookie season, but the man has just wet the bed year after year after year, and it seems like he is just getting worse and worse and worse. Man, I don't mean to be super critical. And again, some of these are going to move. I might move some of these, but I'm going to put him in C tier as well. I just have not enjoyed any of the decision-making. Again, he's another one where the offense hasn't necessarily been awful for him. Obviously they had an early season offensive coordinator change last year, but he still had Nico Collins. Dalton Schultz to me is still a very functional tight end. Woody Marks was probably one of the best red zone running backs in the league last year. The offensive line wasn't great. I understand that, but I just need to see more. And especially, we're talking about that Texans-Steelers game. He should have extended the Texans, 10, 20, 30 points past the Steelers. And the fact that for a good amount of time there, the Steelers still had good opportunity to go ahead and do that, that just tells you it all. And then the performance against New England too, it's giving me a headache right now, even just thinking about it. So CJ Stroud needs to definitely improve the decision-making, needs to keep himself on the field himself. Obviously suffered a concussion last year against my Denver Broncos, unfortunately. So for him, hoping that he can come back healthy and improve, go back to Rookie of the Year CJ Stroud at least, right? Then we have Daniel Jones here. Again, Daniel Jones is another just interesting case because it's 1 year. We've seen one good year of Daniel Jones in New York. We've seen half of a good year of Daniel Jones in Indy before he ended up getting hurt. He's going to have a lot less weapons this year. He's going to have Alec Pierce coming off of injury. They're not going to have Michael Pittman anymore. There's going to be a lot of stuff to work with. Again, I just don't feel comfortable putting Daniel Jones any higher than C. I do think that he is slightly above Aaron Rodgers with some of the big-time plays that he made last year. And I do think that he is much more capable using his legs. But in B tier, I mean, not to spoil anything, but B tier is going to be reserved for guys like Dak possibly, for like Jaden Daniels maybe even Kyler Murray and whatnot. And Daniel Jones is just not that type of caliber player. And again, this is going to be the test. Can he succeed still with the lack of weapons? If he could do that, then you're going to give me something about putting him into B, potentially at the end of A or whatnot. But for right now, I would say when he left the Giants, I probably had him around the D, maybe even, near the F. Having him in the middle of the C is not a bad improvement for him from where he was. So definitely going to leave him there. Trevor Lawrence, I think that he's going to start off the A tier, could potentially even slide him up to S tier. I love the T-Law that we saw this year, man. I mean, especially the game that he played against my Broncos. That offensive performance that he put on was absolutely electric. And I'll always remember, I believe it was a Thursday night game. It was either Thursday night or Monday night against those Kansas City Chiefs. And he finally showcased the Trevor Lawrence that we were all waiting for. The dude actually has that type of dog in him down the stretch. He wants to win the freaking game. Sure, there were still some downs, here and there throughout the season, but the dude has definitely started to clean up his act a little bit more, especially within the turnover margin. The Jags are starting to slowly build up an offense for him, although they just lost Travis Etienne. So I like what T-Law is doing. I still think that he has some great late-game pedigree. Obviously has a huge arm to be able to make throws. And again, I think that this year he did showcase that he could also make some big-time plays with his legs. So like T-Law here at A tier, but could definitely see him also jumping up into the S tier. Cam Ward here. Again, it just sucks with these guys, man, because you're thinking to yourself, you're just thinking to yourself, is it Cam Ward or is it the Titans? Is it Cam Ward or is it the Titans? This is kind of a situation where I think it is more on Cam Ward. I'm going to put him, oh my gosh, people are going to be so mad at me for this. I just haven't seen a lot, dude. I really haven't seen a lot. I'm going to put him in D tier. I'm going to put him above Malik Willis. Actually, I'm going to put him above Geno Smith, man. I'm not going to disrespect him like that. Again, he's another one that I just need to see more of. Obviously was on a very, very bad team, a team that fired their head coach during the season. We all understand that. Mike McCoy was obviously not the best replacement option there, but it was really their only option. Obviously, super excited to see what he could do with both Robert Saleh and Brian Daboll in his corner, especially Daboll. The dude has been breeding NFL-level quarterbacks his entire career. Let's see if he can do it with Cam Ward. But I think we just saw the relaxed style of ball that this guy plays. It just doesn't translate as well to the NFL. I think that he needs to become more just in it. I think that he needs to get out of just being calm and actually give himself some more energy and a little bit of anxiety even, and just, go out and freaking compete game after game after game. I think that he has some really great dual threat qualities, obviously has a big arm. The accuracy and the consistency is the big fix that needs to happen. And, just finishing out games. Obviously, the Titans weren't as, talented last year, but there were a couple of games, against some top teams where they made things pretty close and towards the end of the stretch had opportunities to win it. They just couldn't make those margins. So I think that, with a little bit of a push, better coaching, obviously they had a couple more additions this year. Wan'Dale Robinson to that receiving core is definitely a big one. JFM on the defensive side and whatnot. Hopefully that'll be the difference to push him over in a couple of those one-score games, and definitely boost Cam Ward up there. Bo Nix, my boy Bo Nix. I'm going to rate him in the B tier for right now. Potentially could bump him up into the A tier. There's a couple reasons I'm putting Bo up here in the B tier. Number one is the injury. I need to see him coming off of this injury. Really excited to see what he does coming up in this next preseason game for the Broncos. But just need to see, is his mobility still there? Can he still run the same on that ankle injury that he was before? Can he continue to repeat these seasons? Again, there's so much hate that already comes to this guy. I'm not trying to put more on him. But that's the nature of this league, right? You had a good year. Okay, great. Can you do it again? And then can you do it again? And then can you do it again? And can you get better the next year and whatnot? Those are obviously the questions. I do think that Bo Nix is probably one of, if not the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. The dude has so much hate coming towards him. He's a great quarterback. The only negative that I would realistically put on him last year was that he had some inconsistency, especially in the first half of that season with his deep ball. But down the stretch, he definitely found it. And you cannot say that this dude does not have clutch in him, because this dude came up big game after game after game. And again, if he does not get injured in that AFC divisional playoff, the Denver Broncos are going to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that they beat the Seahawks, but they would have gone to the Super Bowl and probably would have put up a lot bigger of a fight than the New England Patriots. Just saying. Patrick Mahomes here. Let's move on from that one. Patrick Mahomes here. Again, injury is kind of a big concern. I'm going to put Pat slightly behind Joe Burrow just because of the injury. I'm curious how he comes off of it, just because it is just so soon for an ACL injury, and obviously new technology and whatnot, this is probably not going to be very, very surprising. And I'm sure with somebody that has Patrick Mahomes' work ethic, it's not going to be surprising that he does come back 100%. But, we need to see it. We just need to see it. And last year was a little bit of a frustrating down year for him, not just the injury itself, but also had a couple of on and off games, a lack of the accuracy and whatnot. Again, he's a guy that the Chiefs have kept the offense, very, very light around. They haven't really made a competitive push for him on the offensive side of the ball. So he's really had to carry the weight more and more and more. He's had to utilize his legs more and more and more. And so I'm hoping that as he comes back, especially off of this knee injury, now especially with Kenneth Walker III in the backfield, that they can turn him a little bit more into a pocket passer, not get him out into much space. And he can just throw the football instead of just, holding on to it and trying to innovate and throwing it in between three guys and just trying to make, Mahomes magic all the time. Allow him to just make simple, easy reads 100% of the time. Kirk Cousins here, a surprising starter for the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll see how long this goes ahead and lasts. Kirk at his older age, I think is still like a below average type of quarterback. Is he above somebody like Cam Ward at his older age? I'm not sure about that. Could he be up here with A-Rod? Possibly. I'm going to put him behind Malik Willis just because I like Malik Willis's moxie. I like what he can do with in the run game. I like that he could probably make a lot more magic happen in the deep passing game. Kirk, his big thing is going to be the short to medium, right? He's going to be hitting the flats. He's going to be hitting his checkdowns a lot. He's going to be hitting passes over the middle. That is going to be his bread and butter. Do not ask him to make electric plays down the field. It's just not going to happen, especially with his lack of the arm now at his older age. We saw how he was in Atlanta. Probably one of the worst signings in NFL history for the amount of money that he was getting. And the sad part about that is now he's going to the Las Vegas Raiders, who have even less weapons. Obviously, you have Genty in the backfield, Brock Bowers. But outside of that, it's Jalen Naylor in the passing game. And then you have Tyler Linderbaum to, plug up the center position, Jackson Powers-Johnson to his left or to his right. That's all he really has to work with. And when you're in the AFC West with some of the most consistent top NFL pass rushers in this league, you have some top secondaries and whatnot, it's just going to be a nightmare. So this might not even be Kirk's ability, but you just can't expect him to do this much at his older age. And right now, I would just ask all three of these. I would be much more confident in all three of these quarterbacks to create an offense much more for me. Justin Herbert is here. We are counting regular season performance as well. I'm going to put him obviously above Drake May. I'm going to slightly put him behind Lamar Jackson, another guy that has slightly struggled with injury and also has had some inconsistency in the postseason. But when he's on in the regular season, the dude can make plays. I love how physical that this guy plays, especially in the run game, especially at the goal line. He can definitely make it happen. Obviously, he's bigger, he's bulkier and whatnot. And he has arguably made some great plays with probably the least amount of weapons on this list. I mean, how many fantastic weapons has Justin Herbert had in his career? I mean, how many great weapons does he realistically have now? I mean, Ladd McConkey's great. Don't get me wrong. We'll have to see what they get out of, what was his name? I literally just had it on the tip of my tongue and I forgot it. Trey from Ole Miss. Sorry, I forgot his name. We're going to have to see how that guy continues to progress. But out of the tight end position, you don't have much. They've dealt with so many injuries on the offensive line and whatnot. So, and in the running back room as well. So he hasn't really had a lot to work with, and he's still done a great job at going ahead and leading this offense. I think this is another guy that has solid pedigree down the stretch. He just has to translate that pedigree over to the playoffs, man, because once that big moments hit in the playoffs, that's when he decides to disappear. But the dude has great accuracy on all three levels. Love what he brings to the table. Definitely here at the S tier. You know what? With that, I think I'm going to bring Drake May down to the A tier, slightly ahead of Trevor Lawrence over there at the top. Jalen Hurts here. I think that there is a little bit of a myth going around here about Jalen Hurts. A lot of people are saying, he can't pass the football, blah, blah, blah. And I totally get it, right? And I am even a guy that I hate watching the Eagles offense play. Every play, it's either running the ball or a tush push or some kind of deep yard chuck or whatnot. I understand it. But let's not forget, this dude has led this team to the Super Bowl multiple times. He's not an A-tier quarterback, but I do think that he's along the lines of that B-tier. I also think that amongst, all these quarterbacks, this dude is probably one of the better leaders on this list. Definitely, And that's one thing that the Eagles have kind of been consistent on over the past couple of years while he's been under center, is they've had, just a solid veteran group and a solid group of leaders that has kind of just kept this group close. I think that he's done an okay job of that. He's done it with a guy in Nick Sirianni who doesn't do much. He's supposed to be managing the team, but doesn't do a lot right there. So ultimately, I do still think that Hurts is a really solid passing quarterback in this game. Are we going to potentially see more of that with A.J. Brown now out of the picture? Probably not. I'm going to be completely honest, but I hope that we do, because this dude definitely needs to showcase his arm a lot more. Dak Prescott is an A-tier quarterback, guys. I don't care what you say. There's not there is a handful of quarterbacks that I would take over Dak Prescott, but there's not many, if that makes any sense at all. The dude just needs to stay on the field. Just needs to stay on the field. And what I hate to hear is so many people who rate Justin Herbert so highly, and I do as well, don't get me wrong, but then they shit on Dak Prescott for his lack of playoff performances. When Justin Herbert hasn't had a lot of great playoff performances, Trevor Lawrence has only had one. Lamar Jackson, especially early on in his career, struggled in the playoffs a little bit. It took Josh Allen a couple of years to get past, the second round and whatnot. Like, everyone has struggled in the playoffs, right? And Dak, he did not have a defense last year. He is now having a really solid revamped Cowboys offense this year, which I'm actually really excited to watch. Between Javonte Williams, you have Pickens and Lamb, obviously, a top offensive line, in my opinion, Jake Ferguson, a tight end. This is an offense that's going to be able to make some moves. And this dude is accurate. He can throw the freaking football. He can throw the damn football far. He has shown some ability to be able to utilize his legs as well. And so, obviously, is he Burrow? Is he Allen in terms of, arm strength and whatnot? Is he, Mahomes or Drake May, like we talked about, or even Bo Nix when it comes to, late game pedigree? No, but the dude is a great starting quarterback, and there's not many that I would take over him at this point. You're really going to tell me that you would take C.J. Stroud or Aaron Rodgers or Geno Smith over Dak Prescott? It's just not happening. It's all a bunch of Cowboys hate, and don't get me wrong, I do not like the Cowboys either, guys, but we have to be objective. Dak has been a solid NFL starting quarterback in this league and definitely deserves to be at A tier. Jackson Dart here, again, another interesting one. I definitely think that he definitely overperformed my expectations. And we'll get to another quarterback in a couple of rows. I hope that you guys can guess that also exceeded my expectations. But Jackson Dart, to me, had a solid year. And as someone who's a Broncos fan, I watched him put up 30 points on us in one game, which was very, very frustrating. Excuse me, I had to cough there or whatever for a second. Dude also does great things with his legs. I don't enjoy how he protects himself at all when he's running. The dude is in the blue tent almost every other play. Has proven that he can make some solid throws at times. Has also shown inaccuracy, has also shown turnover issues. And I think at times has also shown that he's continued to be coddled by coaches. Obviously did not come from a pro-ready offense from Ole Miss. And I think that Dable in some ways kind of just wanted to push with that and locked in a lot more into RPOs and to read options and all that type of stuff and have him throwing the ball deep. We're going to have to see how he does in a more pro-ready offense with guys like Matt Nagy and Harbaugh leading it. I think he's probably around a Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers level. I like Rodgers' accuracy more right now. So I'd probably put him into C tier. And actually, I'm going to move Cam Ward up, man. I think that Cam Ward is definitely above Jackson Dart. But I'm going to put him in the C tier. Definitely think that he could be top of the D tier. But again, with these younger guys, they have a little bit more of an advantage because they just have so much more time to improve. So honestly, Dart, need to see more, but do definitely think that he can make some plays. And remember, the Giants were also plagued with injuries. He now gets a whole season with Malik Neighbors. He now gets a whole season with Cam Skattebo. And now with a Hall of Fame level coach in Harbaugh, could be pretty interesting. Watch out for the New York Giants this year, people. Jayden Daniels is a B-tier quarterback, and yes, Jayden Daniels is behind Bo Nix. I'm talking to my two friends out there that are Commanders fans. Jayden Daniels has not had a good season in 2 years. I'm sorry, it's just facts. Since his rookie year, when he took the Commanders to that NFC Conference Championship game, he has struggled. Now again, and I'm going to sound like a broken record with so many of these quarterbacks, I think part of that was his situation. He has not had a lot of really great weapons. He's not had a lot of really great running back help. The offensive line still needs a lot of big-time work. But the innovation that I used to love about this kid coming out of college, I think has slowly but surely started to become a weakness. There have been a lot of plays where he's just held onto the ball for way too long and either gets sacked for a ton of yards or he tries to throw it into some crazy place and it ends up incomplete or into somebody's hands. Sometimes he just does a little bit too much. Now, he has a lot of swag. He has a lot of late game pedigree as well. I love the work that he does with his legs. I have seen him do great in the pass game before. I need to see that repeat over and over again. He also needs to stay healthy. Had an injury-plagued season last year. There's still a lot of questions that I have with Jayden Daniels. Bo Nix has looked like the more pro-ready, suitable quarterback. He has shown more ability to throw the football on all three levels. He has shown more of an ability to keep the ball out of harm's way. He has shown even more of an ability to be a better innovator at some points. So we could go down and down the list. I know there's a lot of Bo Nix hate. Jayden Daniels is a fine quarterback. He's a B-tier quarterback. He's behind Bo Nix. Same guy from that draft class is Caleb Williams. Man, where am I going to put Caleb? Let's see where we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I kind of like that top 5 up there. I don't think that Caleb is top 5 just yet, but I do think that he's knocking on the door. He's definitely above Drake May, man. This dude is a wizard. He's a magician. There are some plays that he makes where you're just like, how? How the hell did he do that? And I do think that by the end of this year, he will be well into this S tier. We're just going to have to see it, right? And there still were some plays also from him, similar to Jayden Daniels, where he did put the ball in harm's way as well. And some of that is just youth. Some of that is just growing pains. But this dude has really lived up to the hype. I mean, with his arm, some of the plays that he made last year that, Houdini passed to Colston Loveland, I think it was against the Dallas Cowboys when they were coming back down the stretch, and they scored late. No. It was against the Cincinnati Bengals. My apologies. I remember. And Loveland runs it for a 30-yard touchdown. It's just magic. Caleb Williams has been so much fun to watch. The dude kills it. Definitely up there within the A tier. Jared Goff. Where am I going to put Jared Goofball? Another guy that could score 40 touchdowns in a game or could give you 40 interceptions. I also had Jared Goff in fantasy last year, I believe. Really experienced. Is he above Jalen Hurts? He's definitely above Bo Nix and Jayden Daniels. I'm going to put him there. I definitely think that you could switch these. Again, Hurts kind of gets the nod for me because I like more of what he can do in the run game. But Goff has shown great moments. Obviously, the dude also has a killer freaking arm. Shows up in big moments. Also wilts sometimes in big moments. But has kind of gotten some freedom from Dan Campbell to just be able to do whatever the heck he wants. And has played good football, man. I mean, he's a trusted quarterback. I think that this B tier is kind of the cutoff of trustable quarterbacks. I think below this is kind of where you have questions of could we replace him? Could we question this? Blah, blah, blah. And then probably D tier and below is okay, this is this dude's last chance, or we could definitely replace this guy moving forward. Goff is definitely, within that tier list where you could fully trust this guy with an offense and that he can handle it. Like this guy, touchdown merchant. Not much more to say, really. Jordan Love, another guy that seems to at times find himself in trouble. Ooh, Jordan Love. I'm going to fit him between JD and Bo. I do prefer Bo Nix over Jordan Love. And I'm probably going to get a lot of hate from that. I don't care. Bo Nix probably turns the ball over less than Jordan Love. He does. Now, I still would love to see Jordan Love with a no doubt number one receiver, because I think that he has been filled with an offense that has been just number twos. Where are we at with the time here? We're at 35 minutes. Wow, this is going to be a long video. He has been filled to the brim with just number two wide receivers. But, teach their own. He still had Josh Jacobs. He still had a solid offensive line. I'm going to kind of speed through this now because this is a little bit longer of a video than I thought that it was going to be. But Jordan Love, B-tier quarterback. Yeah. Kyler Murray is probably at the top of C tier for me. I have him above CJ Stroud. I still have faith, man. I still have a lot of faith in Kyler Murray, and we've seen so many quarterbacks come into the Kevin O'Connell system, have wide receivers like Jay Jettis, and just absolutely explode and completely improve. I think that Kyler Murray can do the exact same thing. Can we not forget that this is a rookie of the year? Can we not forget that this was a guy that at one point earlier on in his career was in the conversation to be a top 10 level quarterback? He's dealt with some injury. I get it. He was on the dog shit Arizona Cardinals for years. Put him with a good head coach, some great receivers, an okay running back in the backfield. He's going to be fine, and he's going to do much better than J.J. McCarthy ever could. Tua Tagovailoa is an F. I'm even putting Shedeur Sanders over him. I don't even care. I don't even have much to talk about Tua Tagovailoa. He just fumbled the second snap of the game in a preseason game. The dude has been injured more times than I could even think of. The accuracy is terrible. The arm is awful. You want him to throw inside, outside. It doesn't matter. The dude's confidence is completely shot. He's now in Atlanta. I don't know why Michael Penix isn't on here, because I think that he's probably going to be the starter. But either way, I don't trust Michael Penix either. Tua's here. Tua's an F. Going to move on. Bryce Young, interesting. I have a lot of faith in Bryce, and I love the performance that he put on the plays last year. I'm going to put him at the end of B. I think he's shown more than Kyler Murray has in the past 2 seasons. That's where I'm going to go with that. And again, I'm speeding through this, guys, because this is almost a 40-minute long video. So if these last few aren't as detailed or whatnot, I apologize. And I'm sure I've repeated myself 15,000 times. Tyler Shough also really surprised me this past year. I'm going to have him back a C tier probably. I think you could even move that to top of D tier. He really surprised me. I didn't think that he was going to amount to nothing. He's a 27-year-old that coming out of Louisville, he could not throw a pass 5 yards. And the upside with him was that he had a massive arm. That was it. But he showed mobility this year. He showed some remnants of accuracy. I think Kellen Moore did a tremendous job. I'd love to see his upgrade in year 2. Baker is such an interesting case for me, man, because he started the season off so well, was in so many MVP conversations. And then it's just he freaking plummeted down. So I don't know really where we go. I think for the Baker that we got last year towards the first half of the season, I think he's definitely at the top of the B tier. He proved that he could freaking score, that he could play down the stretch. And the Bucs were another team that just lost so many close games. Some of that came down to some of the picks that he threw. And I think that he also got injured on the later part of the season. So Baker could definitely still climb, but need to see a full good 17-game season out of him. Jacoby Brissett, what can you say? He's probably D tier, slightly above Kirk Cousins. We'll probably trust Malik Willis more. Had the most pass attempts in the NFL last year. Don't really care. Don't think he's going to amount to nothing either. Would love to see Carson Beck starting, in the second half of the season. We'll leave it there. Matt Stafford is 1,000% within the upper echelon of quarterbacks. I'm going to actually put him A tier. I'm going to put Caleb Williams at the end of S. People are going to get mad. Why is he not a freaking top 5 quarterback? Just won MVP. Guys, this is his last year, if not second to last year. He is in his 40s, I believe. Is he in his early 40s or late 30s? The mobility shot, he's still making amazing plays. I get it. He had 40 touchdowns last year. I understand it. He's old. he's old. Caleb Williams, with what he can do throwing the ball down the field, with what he can do on the run, the dude could freaking jump sideways and throw a sidearm throw like Bo Nix did against the Commanders and make that pass. That's what Caleb Williams can do. Matt Stafford is never going to do that. Don't get me wrong, still throws absolute freaking darts, has a really good team around him and a Hall of Fame level head coach, just saying, but has still been, really, really functional. I get it. He's 7 here? I think that's perfect. Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do with either of these guys. I'm not a big Brock Purdy fan. It's kind of funny. I'm not a big fan of any of the 3 quarterbacks that are my friends' favorite teams, that being Purdy, Jordan Love, and Jane Daniels. Purdy's above Bryce Young, man. I can't disrespect him that much. I'm gonna put him B tier. Sam, he played well, and he's played well in Minnesota. I just never thought that he's been good. And he's been on 2 good teams now. I'm gonna put him above Bryce Young and B tier. This is gonna be my final list. Let's see. We got Josh Allen at 1, Burrow at 2, Mahomes at 3, Lamar at 4, Herbert at 5, Caleb at 6, Stafford at 7, May at 8. You got T-Law at 9, Dax at 10. Okay, I like that. Baker at 11, Hurts at 12, 13 is Goff, 14 is Nix, 15 is Love, 16 is Daniels, 17 is Purdy, 18 is Darnold, 19 is Young, 20 is Kyler, 21 is Stroud, 22 is D. Jones, 23 is Aaron Rodgers, 24 is Cam, 25 is Dart, 26 is Shuck, 27 is Geno, 28 is Malik, 29 is Brissett, 30 is Cousins, 31 is Shador, and 32 is Tua. Honestly, I don't hate that at all. I think the only thing that is really throwing me off, and I'm going to try to end this because we're almost at over 40 minutes, probably are over 40 minutes at this point, is Stroud at 21. That's really but he just hasn't played well. But Stroud at 21 is really, really difficult to see, especially because he was seen as a top 5 quarterback after his rookie year. But I think I'm going to leave it like that. So let me know what you guys think down below about this list, down below in the comments section. Absolutely freaking fry me, dude. Go ahead and do it. I'm all welcome for it. But I figured, hey, let's go ahead and have some fun. Let's not do a top 10 list. Let's do a top 32 list here and just really, really go for it. So leave all of your comments down below within the comments section, as well as subscribing to the channel. Leaving a like on the video. I almost throw my mic all the way across the room. Share it with your friends, and if you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on all social medias, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those apps are going to be down below. We're on all of those social medias. You will get to see my latest reactions to breaking news from the NBA, the NFL, and combat sports, and you will never miss whenever the podcast decides to upload an episode. And without further ado, guys, that is all that I have for you guys today. I will see you guys on the next one. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your week and a great start to your weekend, and peace. Check your fridge, people. Check your fridge.